Mr. President, Director General dear Rafael, Excellencies, this year's General Conference is taking place under really extraordinary circumstances, as we are all together facing the unprecedented challenge of COVID-19. The pandemic has required great flexibility from all of us, but the international family in Vienna, with at the core UNOF and the IAEO, has risen to the task and ensured the continuity of its services. Thank you all for that. Our meeting today and this year is of particular significance, coming 75 years after the dropping of atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. At commemorative events across the world, we are reminded of the devastating humanitarian consequences caused by these weapons. We need to make sure that nuclear weapons are never used again. Some years ago, this might have been considered as a theoretical issue, but it is not. Quite the contrary. It is increasingly relevant today as we observe a climate of growing proliferation pressures. In order to counter these pressures, we need to reinforce mutual trust and transparency. That is why Austria considers the strategic dialogue between the United States and the Russian Federation to be so essential. We are pleased to continue hosting these talks in Vienna and hope that they will contribute to advancing our joint commitment to arms control and, finally, to a general and complete disarmament of nuclear weapons, an objective already enshrined in the NPT. In this context, let me point out that the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons is now only a couple of ratifications away from its entry into force. Once this has happened, I look forward to hosting the first meeting of states parties here at the UN in Vienna. Our ambition and aim is and remains clear: to lay the foundations for a world free of nuclear weapons. Excellencies, I know that in this room there are many diverging views on the role of nuclear power in climate change. While we recognize the need for compromise language, Austria's stance on this issue remains unchanged. We do not consider nuclear fission power a sustainable way to generate electricity or to fight climate change. On the contrary, Chernobyl and Fukushima have proven the enormous risks and costs of this technology for the population and for the environment. However, as long as this technology is still used, we have to ensure that the highest standards on nuclear safety and security are applied. I therefore very much welcome the agency's efforts in this regard, and I can assure you that Austria will continue to be actively engaged in the IAEA framework. May I take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to point out that Austria has presented its candidature for the IAEA Board of Governors. We would be very grateful for your support. Thank you for your attention.